Hello, Jen here, and I have a layout for you for the Love of Crafting and Sharing YouTube collaboration. This month we are sharing our love of kits, and I love kits. I always have. Even when I first started scrapbooking, it was just really natural for me to put little page kits together. I had limited amounts of supplies, and so I felt like this was the best way for me to stretch those supplies as much as possible. I would pick a picture, and then I would go through my papers and put a couple of papers with that picture, and then look through my stickers and look through all the little bits and pieces that I had collected and make a little kit for each picture that I had. And I just have always kind of continued through with that into my scrapbooking today. So every month I participate in How to Kill a Kit with Style, which is a monthly series where we put a kit together and then we try to use up as much of that kit as possible throughout the month. And usually most people who participate start with a kit share at the beginning of the month and then some sort of a layout share or a share of what they have left of their kit at the end of the month. So it's tons and tons of fun. I especially like it because I feel like I have a very specific way that I like to put my kits together, and so does everybody else. So it's kind of fun to see the thought process of how other people put their kits together and what they're adding into their kits and, you know, what they have in their stash and stuff like that. And it definitely gives you some ideas of how to kind of maybe think outside the box and create some different kits that can really kind of challenge you or inspire you, maybe get you to use up stash that you are hoarding or stash that you are uncomfortable using, you don't know how to use it. So it's really a ton of fun. I super enjoy doing it. And like I said, it's just a very natural thing for me, the way that I scrapbook, to use kits. I always bring kits to crops and things like that. It means that I don't have to overthink anything. I have a lot of the thought process done for me. So I tend to start by picking my papers. And in this case, for this month's kit, I picked 3 paper pads. So it's a pretty big kit this month, but I have 3 paper pads, 12 by 12 paper pads that they're the only paper pads I have really, and I'm not grabbing for them very often. I can't even tell you the last time I used the one that I'm using right now. They're tucked away. I don't really think about them. And so I thought for the month of September, I'd really like to challenge myself to build a kit around these paper pads and get them used up. So that's where I started. Sometimes I start with maybe a theme. So for next month, I already know my theme is probably going to be fall and Halloween. So I'll start by grabbing papers that are fall and Halloween themed, and then I kind of go from there. So I think I made that into a longer explanation than I needed to. But so I started with these paper pads, and then I went through my sticker sheets. That's kind of where I go to next. So for this kit, I pulled out all my sticker sheets that are almost used up, or ones that again, just like the paper pads, I'm not grabbing for them very often. So I pulled out a bunch of those. They don't necessarily match the colors or the feels of the paper pads, but you kind of make them work as you go. So you'll see what my process is. But I pull out all my stickers, and then I will go and look for other little embellishments. So sometimes that might be wood veneer or chipboard or sequins and enamel dots or flare. Flare is part of my kit this month because, again, it's something that I have a lot of but I don't really reach for. I guess maybe that's the theme of my kit, is this mishmash of stuff that I don't use as often as I should. So It's a pretty big kit, but really when you break it all down, a lot of these sticker sheets are almost empty, so they're kind of on their last days. And the papers in the pack, there aren't that many left, but the ones that are left, there's still 2 of them. So I think I pulled out all of my favorite patterns and I just have a bunch of leftovers. And so this, I guess you could say that this is kind of a leftovers kit or a last legs kit. It's one of those kits that I just want to see if I can use some of these sticker sheets and paper pads and be done with them and make room for new stuff later on. So that's the thought process when I put my kits together. If it's a specific theme, then I usually like to go for collections. So for my Halloween and fall themed kit for October, I have some Simple Stories collections and I have some close to my heart stuff, and it all kind of fits together. And every time I buy something that fits that particular theme, so anytime I buy something that's fall related or Halloween related, I keep it all together in an iris container. So my kit is always together and it's always growing and evolving. And the same thing goes for my summer kit and my travel kit. And I have a kit that's kind of Valentine's-y, and another one that it might seem a little bit weird, but my spring kit kind of has a little bit of spring stuff, Easter stuff, birthday stuff, because all 3 of my kids' birthdays are in the spring, and comic-y stuff because the comic expo is in the spring, so my brain just thinks about it that way. And so those are kits I always keep together and add to or use up as I need them. And then other times I might just put a page kit together. So I might just actually have a couple pieces of paper and then a few little embellishments. And instead of grabbing from a whole bunch of different options, I'll just stick to those few bits and pieces that I've put together. So unlike when I first started making kits, I don't usually have specific pictures in mind as I'm building my kits. Apart from maybe if I'm putting a Christmas kit together, then I know I'm probably going to be using Christmas photos. But I don't usually pull out very specific pictures and then build kits around them anymore. I kind of build the kits and then I hunt for the pictures that match. So for this kit, because it's kind of a big mishmash and a lot of the products that I pulled are older products, I thought it would be fun to go back a little bit and find all of those kind of miscellaneous photos that I hadn't scrapped yet, that maybe they just didn't really fit into any of the other kits or whatever it might be. And so the picture that I'm scrapping is just a picture. It was a beautiful night. It was sunset. We were at the river and Kaylin and I took a selfie, and I just hadn't ever gotten around to scrapping it before. So I thought this is exactly the kind of picture that this kit was designed to scrap. So because the picture doesn't necessarily match any of the products that I have in the kit, I decided to start by just figuring out what papers to use. That's usually the route I go anyways. So I went through my papers. I went through the Oh Darling paper pad, and I decided that because it was a sunset picture, I would go with sunset colors. So I looked for things that were pink and yellow, and maybe if there were oranges in the back of my mind, that's kind of what I was looking for, was those sunset colors. So I pulled a few of them out, and I decided to go with this polka dot ombre paper as my background, and then the other patterns I actually cut into strips, and I used those as layers, and I backed my photo with one of them. And I did a little bit of mixed media on the paper just to add a little bit of extra interest into the background. I knew that this was probably going to be a pretty flat layout with mostly flat stickers as embellishments, so I kind of wanted a little bit of different texture. So that's where the watercolors come in, as well as the Vicky Bouton rose gold glaze that I used. And then once I had the papers all down, I started going through my sticker pads and I just pulled off anything that I thought might work. So I was looking for pink, teal, yellow, and I was looking for kind of longer stickers or embellishments that kind of enhanced that concept of the diagonal going across my paper. And I just pulled them all off. I stick them to the leg of my tripod until I have a whole bunch of them pulled off and I kind of know how many elements I might be working with. And for this one, in this case, I just started sticking them all down, trying to fit them into that diagonal line as best I could so that they weren't running across the paper, the picture or anything like that, and they all kind of fit in nicely. So I really like how it turned out. There's lots of just little like banners and tags and labels and a few longer sentences in that Tim Holtz little phrase book. I tend not to use the longer sentences as much, so I thought that was kind of good that I was able to get some of those used up. And you can see here I'm just kind of fussing around until I find the right fit where I think everything looks really, really nice and balanced. I got some chipboard in there and some enamel stickers from Heidi Swap. If you want to see a more detailed look at everything that's in my kit, definitely go check out the kit video. But you could kind of see as I was flipping through all of the stuff, the different kinds of sticker sheets and stuff that I had there. And so to finish it off, I decided to back it on another piece of paper. So this paper, that calendar paper, is actually from the Dear Lizzie paper pad. It has a bit of a different finish to it, so that's kind of nice too. That kind of builds on some of the texture of the layout. And to let us get a little bigger peak of the kind of minty color, I ripped the opposite corners to what my diagonal is going. So that gives more texture and just a little bit of interest on those two corners that didn't have much going on. And I didn't put a title, I just put this little phrase underneath our sticker. It says make a life you love. And that is it. That's my layout. Once I kind of got my groove and I had a plan, it came together so quickly and I love how it turned out. I love how much stuff I was able to get into just that one diagonal strip. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please check out all of the links below so you can see how everybody else shares their love of kits this month. And until next time, happy scrapping. Stay safe. Bye.